All right, everyone, welcome. Currently 19 minutes to the bell, and we're just sitting here waiting, watching, and we got the PPI report this morning. So that's why the market has gone straight up. Just like the CPI came out, the market went straight up. Same thing with the PPI, the market went straight up on very solid numbers. So I'm just going to wait for a few more to join, and then I'm going to go into these numbers in just a second. If you guys are interested, this is the earnings here for the week. We saw Walmart before the bell. We saw Home Depot before the bell. They both had good earnings. Walmart had great earnings. It went up a lot, the stock. Home Depot also had really good earnings. Initially, it was down. I'm not sure as of right now, obviously with the market moving, but they had fine earnings. So we haven't really seen really terrible earnings yet from retail. Hola, Rob. Welcome. Economic calendar for the week. Tomorrow, keep an eye on the CPI for the UK. Now, that's obviously at 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, could affect the futures going into retail sales and all this other stuff that we'll get. Some Fed speakers as well, some Fed today as well. So just be aware of that. 9 a.m. already happened, but at 10 a.m. you have the Fed Vice Chair for supervision, Barr speaks. You know, these things can move markets, but the big thing today is the PPI. The PPI 100% was the main thing for this whole week, basically. Wanted to see if that CPI number, right? If the CPI number that came out last week was a hoax, or would we see continuation in inflation dropping? And that's exactly what we saw here today. We can go over the numbers right here, but this is beautiful. And this is why the market went up a lot. So the expected was 0.3. For the core PPI month over month, we saw 0.0. So as Biden would say, we have zero inflation. So, but anyway, that's a great beat. You know, a miss, but a miss is good with inflation at the moment. So core PPI also year over year 6.7, expected was 7.2. That's a very big drop. So that's really good to see. Now, if we go over to the headline numbers for PPI, right here, month over month, down 0.2%. Expected was 0.4%. So basically cut in half right there. That was good. The headline number still with an 8 handle, but expected was 8.3. We're obviously seeing, and the one before that was 8.4. We're obviously seeing inflation come down. Now, 2 CPI reports ago was not good at all. And then when Powell spoke after that CPI report came out, it was all about keeping rates higher for longer. Now we've seen a CPI report come out that was really totally different than what Powell saw before he spoke. So it's going to be interesting going into year end what the Fed does. I think we have an 88% chance now at just a half point raise instead of a 75 basis point raise, which I was thinking a half point raise anyway. So that's not a shocker. But what's good is if we take a look at the yields for the bonds, we're seeing those drop. And that's good. The 10-year, 3.80. This is going to be good under 4, okay? As long as the 10-year stays under 4, that's good. But we still have that inverted yield curve here with the 3-month, which is at 4.24, 10-year at 3.80. This is a big deal, all right? Just because inflation is coming down, it's good. It means that the rates are working and the Fed is doing its job. But what it's doing and the reason why inflation is coming down now, what seems like rapidly, it's because they're killing demand. So if you overdo it, then you end up causing a potential recession. So the bond market is pricing that in. Anytime the 3-month is yielding more than the 10-year, that has been a clear sign for a recession in the future. When and if it happens, that's anyone's guess. From a historical point of view, when these invert, almost always there's a recession coming down. So we'll see what happens. It's going to really be dependent on the Fed if they overdo it or if they raise the 50 in December and then potentially hit the pause button. That would be good. Oh, I didn't realize I had this wrong the whole time. Sorry about that. So anyway, going into the yields here, I didn't realize that I was on the wrong screen the whole time. Just getting used to these live streams, obviously. But these are the yields here. This is what I was talking about. The 3-month, 4.24, the 10-year, 3.80. So you can basically see right there what we're looking at. Going over to the numbers, again, I'll just go over it real quick. The core PPI, 0.0, expected was 0.3. The core PPI for the year, 6.7, 7.2 is expected. This is what the Fed likes to look at, the core numbers, right? Just like with the PPI, the CPI, they like to look at the core numbers, all right? Hey, what's up, Caleb? Well, I wouldn't want to fight this trend, right? What I thought last time with the CPI, we had the market go up a lot, and I was saying, all right, well, it went up a lot, but how much more can it possibly go up? And it went up a whole bunch more. So, let's see if I could find it here on the SPY daily chart. So when the CPI came out, right here is where we closed the day before at 374. We ended up opening the day at 387 on the SPY and continued up. So, what can happen today? It can go up more than you think it can, but we're going to be coming into some heavy resistance. So yesterday, the day before, this 400 level on SPY saw a little bit of a sell-off. Now it was on lower volume, which is good. You want to see your big moves with bigger green candles, smaller moves with the red candle there. But you have the 200 moving average here, which is what I would really look at 406. Now that would be a big move today. That would be the SPY up just about 9 points. That can definitely happen. These numbers were very good, but I just know that most people are going to be trying to short in at this spot. So for the day, to answer your question, if we should do calls or puts, I wouldn't want to fight the trend. I would say maybe we get that breakout because I know price wants to get around this 406 and this downtrend line. So I wouldn't be buying puts yet. I would be buying puts at resistance, which is this downtrend line for the year and the 200 moving average. Right now, with a nice PPI number, I would want to be taking this market long, but it's got to show that it wants to break out. At the SPX, we saw yesterday this 4,000 level. It pulled on back. It broke it for a little bit during the day. I'll just pull this up on the 30-minute. It broke 4,000, but then sold off like you guys saw at the end of the day. So we want to see 4,000 hold over and go from there. If that holds, then we can see the SPY potentially getting up to that 200 moving average. Doesn't have to happen in one day, but like I said, I wouldn't want to fight the trend. So SPY pre-market highs here, 403.54, and then has pulled on back. You know what you can see here on the open also, Caleb, is see if 400 on the SPY holds up. Can't believe just about 2 weeks ago, the NASDAQ was at the lowest levels for the year. This thing has been a rocket ship. The Qs definitely like when those bond yields pull on back. The Qs love that, and they'll react a lot bigger than, and the moves will be a lot bigger than those on the SPY or the Dow. But just watch those levels. I mean, you can see here on the Qs, right around this level here, 288 to 290. If it does even pull back that far, that could be an area to get long. Or we could just go right out of the gate. But these are some pullback levels. You see resistance, resistance. It's sold off hard. Supply zone, you can see that. And now we're going to be opening up over that. All right. So a lot of times the macros, the PPI, will overtake the technicals. But will it retest today or will it just go up? So if you do see a sell-off, these would be levels on the Qs I would be looking for. I just don't like chasing anything as far as taking calls when something's up so much. But like we saw, like I said with CPI, it kept going. So we got 5 minutes to the bell. Five minutes to the bell. I traded this in here. So I traded this as it was pushing up. I waited for a pullback to around 40.28, got in, and then took my profits out right here. I only did it on one contract. The first trade of the day, I was down on. So got that loss back. But I'm only going to trade one contract with a big move like this because you just don't know. I mean, we've seen in the past the moves go up and then come back down. So you really got to be able to manage risk really well. You guys see this daily candle right here on the XLE? So we were watching this yesterday. This is coming into clear resistance for the year. Now, XLE in energy has been a total outperformer. We all know that. But it was coming up to this supply zone here where we saw the market just, investors were taking their profit really quickly, right up here. So going up to this, we saw the breakout. We saw the breakout of that level, and then it closed under that level. So that's a really wonky candle right there. I would not like that on a breakout. You want to see the breakout actually, close over that. So we've seen a lot of action right here lately. We'll see what happens, but it looks like some investors took their profit right into this strength, got a lot of people to buy, and was selling to them, and then ended up closing under that key level. So I'm going to be watching XLE closely today. Daily chart for ExxonMobil. No surprise there. Rejections, right? Rejection, can't get over it here, can't get over it here. So this is going to be a key level for ExxonMobil. Just like we see with the XLE. They're both at critical levels. They're both at resistance. So we'll see what happens there. I'm more thinking energy is going to start to be a short. And it's nice to short something at resistance, right? Now, it could always break. It could always break out. And then you take your lumps, But this is probably not the worst place to go short. We'll see what happens. We got 1 minute to the bell. Let's see what the market's doing. This is the micro E minis. It's just kind of bled out, right? A slow grind down after hitting 40, 50. It's going to be definitely an interesting day here. Yeah, definitely a false breakout. Caleb, if you do that, right, and it's great that you started on paper trading, just take it slow. Just take it slow. That's, time is definitely an edge in trading. Remember that. Time is an edge. There you go. You got to push up there in the market. Let's just wait and see what happens. No rush. You're not going to miss out on anything. The market's open all day long. No reason to jump the gun. Taiwan Semiconductor closed yesterday at 73, opening up at highs here. Now, Warren Buffett made a big position in TSM. Other companies that he invested in also are up big on the day. I wanted to see how Home Depot was doing. See, that's what I thought. That was so oversold here for no reason. They beat their earnings. They beat their revenue. They reiterated their guidance. And the stock goes all the way down to 298. Terrible. If my platform was open here before 7, I would have been buying this all day long. There's just a lack of liquidity here, especially on a stock like Home Depot. Other stocks like Amazon, Google, after they report, there's just a lot more people looking to day trade. But this Home Depot had a very good report. And there you go, SPY. SPY catching a bid with Home Depot leading the way. Walmart, another one, had great earnings. So earnings haven't been as bad, right? As expected going into earnings. Guidance hasn't been as bad going into earnings. So it hasn't happened yet, right? If there's a recession coming, these companies, certain ones aren't seeing it, or they're cutting their costs by firing people, by laying people off. Another thing the Fed wants to see. It's all about the Fed pausing at this point. That's what the market wants to see, the Fed pausing. Yeah, Caleb, in this market, support and resistance, it's been very choppy. So, just keep doing the work, keep looking at charts, take a look at the 30-minute chart, but always keep in mind that daily time frame, right? You want to start on the bigger picture, start on a daily time frame, like I always start looking at the SPY, right? Our compass. I have the 200 moving average, the 50 moving average, and then the 20 EMA on that. And that's just for overall direction of where we can possibly go for a week. Now, if you're going to be trading and trying to scalp, that's different. You have to look at, don't obviously look at the daily chart, but then you're going to have to dial in. Go to the 1 hour, go to the 30-minute, like I just did with ExxonMobil. If you were watching, you can see where the resistance was very clearly with that. And when something hits a level and drops immediately, here, I'll show you, like we saw yesterday on the SPY, right? When something hits a level, like 400, and you see this big drop, that just means this is a supply zone. Now, this isn't technically considered resistance, more of a supply zone hitting it, overhead supply, and then just getting sold off. Demand zone right here, the opposite, right? You get those big rips. There was demand down here. So we'll see what happens here with the market today. Am I going to chase it right into the 200 moving average? I mean, no, I probably would wait and see how it reacts at 406 and then look for a short. But that's just me. VIX basically unchanged. We can take a look at the dollar. Dollar's been in a free fall here, which is nice. big moves in the dollar. Yields, same thing, down pretty much a lot here. But off the lows, we'll see what happens during the day here. Yeah, Caleb, for me, scalping is definitely the way that I find the best success. Getting in and out, trying to time those entries really good, and having some good risk to reward, right? So you want to get a good entry and then take that profit when you could get it, especially in a market like this. This market has been really, really difficult in 2022. Moves, for the most part, haven't been holding up as well. Now, I also trade momentum stocks. I don't just trade futures. I don't just trade the SPY. I'm also trading those fast moving stocks, and the continuation just hasn't been there. But you can still eke out some gains with scalps, right? Scalps should be pretty quick. Now, if it doesn't do what you think it's going to do, then just cut the loss. You got to learn how to cut losses. All right, 10 minutes in. Wait until direction starts to show. It's getting cold up here in the Northeast, by the way. I think golfing is going to be out of the question until things warm up in a few months. I mean, I could play in the winter, but I don't know. I like golf. I don't know if I like it that much to be playing when it's cold out, trying to hit a ball that feels like a rock. Just chopping around here. I mean, still up a lot. It's holding its gains so far. So far. So Caleb, when I'm scalping, what are you trading? Are you trading the SPY and the Qs? Probably options if you're talking about percentage. No, I don't look at a percentage when I'm trading options. It's more of a price target. So where I see that going. Now, if I'm scalping it, depends on how many contracts I'm taking. If I'm looking for, to get into a pullback at support, and then, taking, because you have to realize if you're trading options, every minute you're in a trade, it's starting to deteriorate if the move doesn't happen, because you have that theta, you have that time decay. So with options, you're going to want to take your profit, quickly, unless you're taking more of a week, 2 weeks out, and you want to hold on to a position a little bit longer during the day. That's different. Then you could go to a price target. But no, I don't look at a percentage. It's more based on if I'm getting in something like that, I'm getting in for a reason, right? I'm getting in at what I think is support, or if I see a trend line, something like that. And if it breaks my technicals, then I get out. And if you're trading 0 days till expiration, very difficult to do. Very difficult, especially if you're a beginner. Even if you're not, you can see some really big moves. And always know when economic data is coming out during a day. So always have that economic calendar up. You don't want to be taking a trade 2 minutes before, let's say, a Fed is going to be speaking, or if manufacturing data is coming out. You can get whipped around. So keep in mind the economic calendar, very important. Indiana, nice. All right, guys, I'm gonna end the live stream here. It's just about 9:45. We've been live for just over 30 minutes. I hope that you guys learned a thing or two. Hit the thumbs up for me, and I will see you in Discord in 1 minute. Take care.